What's up, guys? Happy Monday. How you doing? So, should I command the 619,000 points and just say this is for Tut to blow his points? And then do a yay on screen? I mean, if you think about it, though, 619,000 points is going to be like, it's over 4 years worth of points. Especially now that I'm streaming a lot less. Sorry, I'm really cold. So. Just my hands. Like, my body's fine. It's just my hands are really cold. And I don't want to turn the heater on yet. Look. Mousie's live. Famajack is live. And wait, Famajack? He takes his name? And Mert. Hold on. Turtle, hey. Love you, Turtle. Enjoy the bath and self-care after work. Anyway, sorry, give me a sec. I'm gonna clear my throat. I don't want to be loud. Okay, I think I got it. I think I did. Anyway, yeah, I guess I didn't have to, work till 10 p.m. tonight. That was nice. They said it because we had a call out. I just went, okay, so what do we need? As we started talking about what was needed for the night and kind of some options. And I said, well, I'll tell you what. One thing I will say that I do like about my management team, and I will give them this credit, is today I said, look, if nobody else will, then I will. They don't take that as, oh, well, I've got it covered. I'm just not going to do anything now. No, they still make the effort to call or at least give you the information to call every single person in. Granted, that's only special to me because of the position. But they will still try to reach out to every single person and ask, and then say, we've literally asked everybody that, kind of do that. So I want to give them that credit. Because there are times where in the past it's been like, well, I'll do it, but can only if you have nobody else to do it. You know what I mean? So, they end up getting it covered. One of the our manager said, no, if this person will do this, I'll actually do that, so you don't have to stay. I'm like, man, you rock. Because I almost had a 13-hour day today. So, yeah, that would have been a great time. But here we are. Get ready to start gaming. Also, I'm going to throw this out there now. So with Hellpoint, which I'm starting up now. Remember I was lost? Come to find out, I looked up the next place to go, how to get to where I was stuck. I'm annoyed. Let's position this so it's not in my face. That's the Hellpoint. I mean, what's the Hellpoint? Okay, do you think if I should have... That's so loud. Hold on. Okay, that should be better. Should I have the candle here or closer? I think I like it further away. Yeah, I think I like it further away. Why is the controller not working? Okay, that's fun. It's kind of working and kind of not. Like, it's trying to work like a mouse. See that? Okay, let's try this again. Oh, dude, you might be right. It might be trying to detect me co-op. All right. Good catch on that. I forgot that it had that. What's up, Sultry? How you doing, friendo? Ah, there we go. Tut, great catch, my friend. That was good. Sultry, how you doing? I think, okay, hold on. Didn't I die? Trying to do something? I don't know what I did. I haven't died yet. Somehow. We're good. Never mind. Too much stress, the usual. Sultry, I mean this. Like, I know I say this all the time. I don't mean this in the streamer, like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you know. How there's that fake care. I wish I could just give you a hug. I mean that. I know that doesn't solve every problem, but... Oh! I vaguely remembered what I did. Oh, so should I tell you about how I have a cold sword? A cold sword. Like, you know how you have a cold? Achoo. Cold. Yes. Because it makes me coughing. Because I'll be coughing. Okay, Tut, I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was like, I don't know that I want to make that joke, so I didn't. Like, legitimately, I was playing this out in my head, and I basically roleplayed the conversation out in my head, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna make that joke. I got you, don't worry. Apparently. Apparently you do. Now, there's a part of me that I just sometimes can't do dark humor anymore. Like, sometimes I can. But... one of the guys I play in the band with, I found out he really likes dark humor. And, I can't even remember the joke that I made. But... Sorry. I don't want to clear my throat all night. I'm sorry. He didn't know that my dad was a double amputee. Oh, I remember the joke. I remember what it was. Okay, first let me preface this with, I love my dad. Period. I love my dad. So there's no malice. I mean, no disrespect. I've actually asked him before. I said, if me joking about you having your legs amputated bothers you, I will immediately stop because I respect you. You know, you're my dad. I love you. But if it doesn't bother you, then I'll continue teasing. So until you tell me stop, I'm going to make these jokes. And so he's given me permission. And until he says otherwise, I'm going to. And I think we were talking about dads, and you know, I said, yeah, so the problem with dads is like, you know, mine really doesn't measure up. And he goes, oh, why? I was like, well, he doesn't have legs. And I have never heard him laugh so hard in my life to this day than when I made that joke. Because he's not the type that's overly energetic, overly expressive. I don't want to say he's monotone, but he's just very, just, I don't even want to say calm. And I don't want to say he's emotionless. Like, I don't know how to put it, but he's not super excitable or, I don't want to say expressive, because he's very expressive. Reserved, yeah, reserved would probably be a good way to put it. But he laughed so hard that it was like echoing in the room, and he had people turning and looking at him. And yeah, you're welcome. And he goes, like, he's wiping his eyes and just, man, like, I did not expect that joke from you. I was like, and so one of the other guys says, yeah, Cody seems really pure on the surface, but he's got a pretty dark soul from time to time. Like, he lets the pain out from time to time. And so I kind of looked at him like, oh, I don't know how to take that. I mean, we're all close buddies. Like, I didn't take offense to it, but it was one of those like, huh. But yeah, to this day, I've never been able to make him laugh that hard since. But the fact that I was able to make him laugh that hard once was enough for me to be like, man, nailed it. Bonk. Did you try to sneak up on me, sir? Not how this works. I mean, it is how this works, but it's not how this works. Wait, what? I got Cordal in 3. Should have been in 2. Nice. You know, there's a part of me that kind of wishes that, like, I don't know. I've thought about getting into it, but I just haven't. I don't mind playing it, like, with and versus people, but I don't know. On my own, eh? One of the reasons why I really enjoyed Words with Your Friends, or Words with Friends, whatever. No, Words on Stream. Wow. Words on Stream was because, you know, we got to do that together. Word games are the only thing that shuts my brain up. Really? Good to know. Okay, let's see if I can get over there. Get bonked. sound effect still freaks me out. It's... I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. Did you guys see the face? Oh. Whoa, 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 okay. Hold up. What's this? Can I fall that far and not die? No, I cannot. Got it, but one way to find out. And no. What is a solid new? I guess I do have the points synchronized. How am I gonna get down there? Okay. Now, down here. Put those back. It's weird to me how those do more damage than regular swings. So, okay, let me ask this. How interested would you be? So the Pokemon game, how do you guys feel about it? Like, do you think Pokemon games 10 out of 10? Like, yes, definite must, love it. You guys think it's just there? Okay. Nope, that's not how we do that. Okay. Oops. Okay, so at this point, we've done combat. No. Oh. Don't fall off. Don't fall off. Don't fall off. Now you can fall off. Oh, that works, actually. Okay, I got carbon scraps. Nice. Raw Incelium. What's all this? Hey now, we're making progress. Okay. More carbon scraps. I'm sick. Wow. Okay, well, we found some stuff. That. Oh, there's no crit animation. What's this clip? No. Oh! Okay, so my food is done. So give me a second. I'm gonna grab my food real fast. So, you're back. VODs are on. I don't have VODs turned off. I didn't turn those off, Tut. Let me look right now. Oh, hold on a sec. You're gonna hear another stream.
Thanks for stopping by. Blah 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 blah. I'll sell one. Do you need any? Yes. See, you don't know how to use magic beans. Yes.
Okay, so let me look here.
So I need. That's gonna be the incognita for next time because I'm gonna do the thing. I'll do the thing, and we're gonna have to.
Yeah, I have a past VOD.
Spain. Eh? Eh? I have to learn. Oh shit! Magic
Yeah.
beans.
I don't know.
Let's do it.
This is your VOD will expire in 7 days.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tut. I don't know why. I know you're subbed, so you should be able to rewind. Oh, okay, good. I was like, okay, so I hit one. I completely whipped. Because, you know, I'm a baseball cat. Those gunners are not fun to fight. Oh, I got a whole new suit. Alright, we're checking the suit out. Oh, I can't wear it. Yo. Not gonna lie, that looks freaking cool. Why is that so cool looking? Oh well. Oh well. What do you guys think? You think that's death? And I about walked off this ledge right here. I need to get out of here. Legitimately that... Oh, for... You really cannot fall very far in these games. Now here's the fun part. I gotta figure out how to get back there. What did I do to get there? Legitimately, how did I get there? I am still using that hammer. I'm gonna bring the hammer down, GG. What up? I'm on. Oh, I remember how to get where I was at. I think I found the way. GG, how do you do? There. This is the way. Man. Bonk. It's kind of crazy that the jump attack has almost the same amount of recovery frames as a regular swing, if not more. Oh, okay, no, it's... So that recovers faster. Okay. The attack chains in this are pretty quick. I missed. Somehow did a multiple attack. I like how I can jump with this weapon, even though it's like stupidly slow. You guys had to guess what a material accelerator is. What do you guys think? I think that was the weapon that you can definitely say you put the nail in the coffin with. Alright, I can get behind that. Used for printing. Reach for the sky. How did I miss? Oh no! That's probably death. You know, since falling from that distance is death. Look, I got a Wendy's deal. Hey. Here's the problem. I don't remember how to get up there. I seriously don't remember what I did to get over there. Did I go this way? Ah! Buddy, buddy. That's what we did. Okay. I butt puckered again. Scorched. Oh, victim legs. Okay. Man, these guys hurt. Double. Okay. So there's 3. That was a lot better that time. A lot better that time. Took so much damage last engagement. It was not good for my health. Oh, I can totally clear that. Come on, game. That dude's dead. Let's check what the victim leg looked like real quick. Eh. Wait, is that a bearded? Did I see a bearded? No. It's a bearded! Welcome to hell. Please take a number and then burn it, because nothing is organized here. Yeah, that works. Dude, that's 3 years, dude. 3 years. That's crazy, dude. Oh, did I should have opened that? Oh boy. Cheeseburger. I has a cheeseburger. Tasty cheeseburger. No, homemade. It's good. Ow. Oh, hey, the circle's aligned. There's a black hole. Where is it? Oh. No! Found it. Nope. Nope. You've been suddenly inspired to eat something? A tasty cheeseburger? Also bearded, yes. I am wielding a coffin. Whoa! I'm wielding death. Well, there goes all those. Cheeseburger. Shuma, I just got shoved into the void.
Whee!
So you're right there. Yeah, so, Bearded, I have named this sword, the Sickness. The void appreciates your sustenance. I'm down with that. But do you know why I've named it the Sickness? This is why we were friends. Yeah, that was good. Like, honestly, that was a good joke. I appreciate that. But yeah, the reason why I call it the Sickness is because I'm coughing and hacking. The blood splatter should be pumpkin pie filling. Oh, you know what? That'd have been a neat little touch. That would have been a nice touch. Now, here's the door. Oh, I love it. Hi. Aw, man. Yeah, I agree with you. That would be pretty sweet. Bonk. 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 Mega bonk. Okay, now what do I do? I don't even know how I got in here. Cheeseburger. What's being awful in live notifications? Oh, Twitches. Sorry, Hugo. Speaking of a song, saw TikTok where they took AI and had it turned into a 50 song is amazing.
Oh yeah, totally. Can't you see its giant dead body? Oh yeah, being sarcastic. Of course I'm being sarcastic.
Oh. Hugo, I don't know if anybody else can do that but you. I don't know. I'm assuming that other people can, but it has a cooldown. Pretty paltry about that? Oh, yeah. Live notifications. That's why I have everyone in Discord. Yeah. See, I'm glad you liked that, man. Tut, did you ever give me a sound bit for you? I just realized something. I think you paid for it and then never sent me anything. Oh. You didn't? Oh. You could have told me you did, and I'd have believed you. Yeah, I just went in a big old circle there. Alright. Good job, Grim. You're the best. Oh, wait. I haven't gone this way. Yum. I don't like these. What? Oh, yes! Ooh. Okay, that looks cool. That is a sweet looking shield. I actually do like it. I thought I fell because of the camera angle on that. Excuse me. Fearful effigy. Okay. Now what? Okay, well, at least I've got that. Should I play that terrible song again, Tut? Welcome back, Hugo. Tut's favorite song about to play. You guys ready? So I've come to find out that my Switch 2 Joy-Cons are defective, but defective is a strong word. You went to sleep while watching? So they're defective, but that's a strong word because they're not lasting the full duration? Is that... am I understanding that right? So how long are they supposed to last? Like, what's the... So they're supposed to last approximately 20 hours, and they're lasting 6 to 8. Okay. So in this instance of them being defective, what do you do? They also don't charge fully, and the battery icon isn't always accurate. Go to Nintendo, send them in for assessment. The way I see it, it's kind of a non-issue. Okay. Yes, camera, please lock onto the other target. Moving away from. This needs to be longer. In my experience, when I used to test batteries, it's sometimes helpful to completely drain the battery and then completely recharge it. Like if they were the only controllers I had, I could see a reason to get a replacement, but I have a Pro controller I use at home. Controllers charge when attached to the console, so I just play handheld mode when they die. Sometimes reset the battery. That's what I did, and it still keeps happening. I didn't cut this song super well. Also, I don't think I like these corridors. Oh! It's a strength weapon. Wow, I have a sweep weapon. Some battery manufacturers ship batteries in a ship mode, and if they're never taken out of that mode, then you can experience a variety of issues. Yeah, what's ship mode? And how would we know? Omnicube Light! Okay, hold on. Oh. What? Okay, well, I finally have a light. This is nice. Let's see how much damage this thing does. It's decent. Not bad. It's about the same amount of damage as the sword. Ooh. This, of course, applies to many lithium batteries. Are you saying that batteries themselves are programmable, or just how the device uses them? Hey, this is news to me. Scrapped heat shield. I have one of them. Yeah, I do. Okay, I don't want it in there yet. Alright, dude, you can stop to me anytime now. Scythe, that's not bad. There's an issue back with the Switch 2s. There you had to boot the thing in safe mode to get an accurate battery reading. Oh, wait, what? Oh, wait, what did I do? Losing Day 970. Oscil of the Electrospasm. Captain's log of the Orid Nivi expedition. Having explored Orad Nivi for a day, I can safely say its structure has been built on a budget. We can assume that the specimens of the civilization were subjects to one of these cheap and acute germaphobe totalitarian regimes, not uncommon to many of the races that we have discovered throughout our voyages. Of course, this isn't a problem in my case. It's a wonder why these maze-like architecture... Why this maze-like architecture was favored by these humans. Perhaps for entertainment purposes? Who can tell? Nintendo found one of the battery situations. Some manufacturers produce batteries that can be unlocked from ship mode, which is a state that degrades performance but reduces charge rate by up to half if it's not an issue. Game, can you lock onto the target, please? Not that. Thank you. That thing is creepy. So, I just found Viper from Dota. Yeesh. When the inevitable switch to OLED model comes out, hopefully they'll have everything ironed out. Yeah, well, maybe that's the case. Come on.
Let's get it on.
Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och pushar på säcken med motståndet vi leker.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little aggravated. One, at the speed of this weapon. But I'm aggravated that there aren't any like critical, like there's no backstabs. I want backstab. I don't want to be backstabbed. I just want to backstab. This is generally done via a keyboard or button press on an external device. Nintendo should have done that when they installed it, if their supplier uses batteries that do that. I think this is the way I came. Tez. It would be nice. That could be fixed through an update. Yeah. Oh, if I can... Uh-huh. Does not open from this side. Heck, Switch 2 still stays stuck in HDR after quitting a game that supports it. What? For example, some HP laptops, I believe, Windows Power F7 when you first boot it. With a new battery. Don't quote me on that. It's been a while. Oh, I missed! That wide sweeping attack that hit this whole entire screen missed. Okay, good. I can't do that. Yeah. It's not a bad weapon. So slow. You have to boot an SDR game to disable it. flashlight next to me is. Wait a minute. Oh. Wait, hold up. So does that mean that there are secret floors? Did you guys see that? Like, how the green showed up there? So that's a one-shot. You know, ironically, this is a strength weapon, but I almost feel like it should be like a reflex finesse weapon. Because of the way he twirls it. Sorry for spinning the camera so fast, guys. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about the Switch 2, but... No, I just can't justify the purchase right now. I mean, I don't know that I need to justify it, but I just... Truth be told, I don't want it. Okay, I think this is where I fell. Oh, I still got the hit. Nice. Material bones. Oh, what's that? I did the same thing again. I about stepped off. Woo! Okay, so let's try. Oh wait, so that's no fall damage, but the other one I fell from killed me. Ministry credentials approved. Suspicious conversion recorded. Play. Play. Well, they sure like their liquor strong on this station. I have to watch out. I don't think my constitution is comparable to theirs yet. I just got here after all. This stuff is cheaper than water, which I can't explain. Someone's forgetting that we have important work to do in the morning. This place is so dark all the time. I'm back. Jesus, it's amazing what can happen in an hour. Yeah, it is. Hello. Welcome back, Turtle. Good to see you. Oh no, we got more Vipers. Yep, we're doing it. Full send! Like a piranha with wings. Yep, let's go with that. Okay, so I get a strength melee conductor. That's nice. That means I can convert the coffin if I want to without fear because I have another one of those conductors. Tengri. Hey, buddy. Ooh! Hey, man. Good to see you. Tell Stoner and I said hi, please. Guys, it's the Sawn District! Yes! This is where I was trying to go! Jump, dodge, and sprint attacks are slightly more powerful than regular attacks. That looks painful. Hold up. What's that? Oh, it's my cube. Oh. Yay! 10% data get there. You're just getting started. Keep up the good work. Alright, let's grab... You know what, let's... One reflex. Yeah, let's get a reflex. Hello. What's that? I don't like that. It's one of those things, guys. A little off. It's fine. Over a year. Ministry credentials required. Found him! Let's go. Yeah, I got armor this time, punk. Yeah. Now what? There's more. Ooh, that was a good attack chain. Okay. There's a third one. Uh-huh. Okay, how do we get in there? That's the ministry credentials. You guys up there? Yeah, you guys are up there. Oh, thank you, flashlight. I mean, little light. Oh? Man. That warrior armor is just so good. Like, why does it have to be such a good looking armor set? I was really hoping that the Arisen armor right there was going to be the same as the dude bros that we fought with this reverse grip sword. Know what I mean? Door open. Hello, open door. All you have to say to me, open sesame, please, or not. Okay. Hey, buddy. That was an eternity later. Good grief, that attack took forever and a day. I don't want to just yet. Yeah, so don't do that attack in the long hallway. Got it. What? You just shoot me out of your face? I think that dude just shot me out of his face. I'm a little confused. Not gonna lie. I don't know, a gun? Rifle. Missed. Is that a tram? Yes. Wastelander Saber. Okay, now we're talking. Yeah, that's coming out of his face. What's the saber looking like? I can't use it! Sadness! Okay, so a little background. Car's been in the shop since Tuesday, the 21st, and to pay $101.10 to get a lift ride to the house sitting job I'm doing, then got a call on Friday. It would be ready, so I paid another lift to $16.97 to pick it up to find out they had discovered another issue while putting it back together. Luckily, my employee was willing to give me a ride back, but I've been waiting all weekend for my car. Mechanics told me 4 p.m. Car was full. No. And here you are at almost 6 o'clock. sorry, Turtle. That is that hook. Yeah, Uber and Lyft are going to be ridiculously expensive. Especially since they started doing the premium hours thing. They charge more during busy times. It's like, dude. Like, I understand capitalizing on a service. I get that. But, like, you're not paying extra to get, for people to get to you first. And I don't think you're paying your drivers anymore for doing that. So, like, just stop. Victim. Tool victim crown. Oh. Owie. Owie. Hey, that's the thing that's in my head. Wasn't, well, it was just in my head. I don't like it. My fiance went to get the car and has got some error. Got the same error and is having issues to drive it. Fiance thinks it's time to trade it in. I just cannot face that. I'm broke. I live away from any possibilities of making money. I'm losing my food benefits, as are many, and I just cannot take on the car payment and the insurance of the car. Could new mean different? Like a different car instead of a new car? Oh. This is typically not normal. I got another railgun. Yeah, I knew it. What is this? What is that? Hello. Decrepit warrior. Axions, Axions. Everywhere, Axions. Now for the current market, I'm definitely going to want to say no to used car, but locally the used car market is still higher than the new car. Okay, okay. You don't get the warranty, limit coverage you get with a new car. Either way, I got, okay. I was curious because I just didn't know. The reasons why I ask so many questions. Okay, my time, got my time off requests put in to be off at the end of the year. I am not one to say no to a used car. Oh, I didn't take that as like a, oh, no, I am not doing that, but a matter of just like, it's not cost effective. 26th to 31st. Let's go, you go! Not from the face. Alright. I have a flashlight. I'm still at a loss for where to go. Yeah, I really wish. It's okay, Turtle. I understood where you were going with it. I mess up my typing often as well. Especially with swipe. Okay, how in the world? Oh, I see you up there now. I can't open this door because I don't have the credentials. How do I get the ministry credentials? Because I actually have them. Me personally, I do. Oh, I've definitely been in this room. Oh, duh, we were just down here. Maybe I need to go back that one spot that I said, no, I'm not gonna go there. Boop. Okay, so that doesn't work. Okay, so let's see here. Oh. Yay! Okay, there's one door open. But ow. Let's see here. This spot. Sorry, I'm spinning the camera so much. I don't make anybody dizzy or sick. Oh! Okay, I'm good. I really have got to be careful in this game. There's so many pitfalls. Ugh. So many. You need bigger googly eyes to see? I suppose. Bring it, buddy boy. What? It's not fire. I want that. How do you get fire? Hold up. Hold up. Get it now. Get it. This is the weapon skill. Thing is, I can't think of too many games I'm saving up for. Some on the wish list, but nothing that says yes, I want to play this ASAP. Yeah, Hugo, actually, I feel the exact same way, man. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. This part is gonna... Like, legitimately, yeah, I know exactly how you feel. The rates for Lyft have gone way up and the drivers are getting less. 2018, I took a Lyft 22.4 miles. It was $38 with tip. The $60 with tip ride they took me the other day was 27 miles. I was told by the driver that they get 50% or less of the fare. When I drove Uber, I got 70%. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the rates have gotten absurd. I have a coworker of mine. I actually have a couple of coworkers. I've been having car issues here recently. And so, oh boy, I don't. Wait, that. So yeah, for them getting it, and here it's even less of a distance for them, and it's like $30 a trip. It's like, it's dumb. It makes me wonder where. Oh, I'm all the way back here. Oh wait, never mind. It's not that far. Never mind. It's not that bad. Oh yeah, I want to try this. You messed up. Oh, good work. Oops, defeated. Yeah. Well, okay, like, it makes you wonder with all the things why it's gone up. Yeah, I want to do that. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. That's where I was thinking, like, okay, like, where have your costs increased? Like, is your overhead higher because of, you know, insurance? You know, do you waive the liability and put that on the drivers? You already opened it. Start. Right. It's not bad for recovery rate. I actually really like the healing mechanic in this. How I'm sorry, the healing recovery mechanic, I should say. Sounds like a hostile would be getting EV or a hybrid. It has long range, so you have to spend profit gas. Yeah, right. What? Where'd I get fireball? One of the drivers rode at least an EV through Lyft. It was $1,200 a month. Good grief. Yeah, no. Dude, I'm that guy that I will not, like, 10,000 for a car, that's about it. Anything more than that, I'm not buying it. I will literally drive, I'm not kidding, I would rather drive a junk vehicle than that. That's my point. Hey, what's going on, Banshee? 285, and it's way too much. Yeah, I found the boss door, but I don't want to go in the boss door. Well, I guess we're gonna find a boss. Why? Because I can't figure out where I was. Yeah. No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying like 285. Just to be more accurate, that's all it was. Only reason why I remember that is because I remember asking, like, hey, what's this? What is this? Oh, it's perfect. Oh. Alright.
No? Is that your final answer?
Wait, what? Oh, so I completely missed the Tesla thing. Yeah, I didn't even see that. My bad, my bad. My fault. I completely saw that. There goes, Banshee. Not where I need a new vehicle, but consider going EV. Turtle, you will. You will. And this is not just a, oh, hang in there, you'll get through. No, you will. Oh, crap. The one shoots suns. Oh, that is so cool. there's a door there. Alright, I'm in the way. Okay, they should not go through. That's cool. Stay up there. Oh, you shoot stuff. Okay, that's so cool. That's bad. Get these hits in. More hits all I need. This camera in this room is annoying. My heal, use it. Oh. Yeah, I don't like losing all those axiom I just lost. Alright. Because the engine doesn't need air. There's no engine in the hood, right? So why would it have a grill? It's a look thing for me. Like they put something there that looks like a grill, but it's a piece of plastic or painted metal. It just looks weird. Okay, so I need to get good. Yeah. Yeah, get schooled. In the old way. Wait, how do I not have full healing items? Sense to me. I want to do that. If anything, you'd consider a forward lightning. What about a dodge thunder? No. pods. This dude's shooting me with his face. Pretty sure dodge owners won't go for EV. We'll see. True. True. I'll give you that. The fish things? They're like flying piranhas. Need a faster weapon. What the face kind of does. I like my 3.5 eco boost, but I don't like the turbo lag. Not what I meant to do. Hi, Inads. It's sloppy now. Smiley faces they're gonna put up. There's a lift I'm looking for. Every movie advertises themselves as the #1 movie in the world. Yeah. Highest grossing movie in the world. Well, yeah, because inflation. And, you know, you've got more money spent because they can all be Princess Bride. Which we have mailed a physical. Inconceivable. That hurt. Also felt good. I don't think this is the right way. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. We got 4 reflex. Look out, guys. We can now use the officer glaive. This is 75. Leech and flux, more energy drawn from blood. And they're trying to say every Marvel movie or horror movie is the #1 movie in the... And I'm like, show me the data. Yeah, right? I mean, you could say #1 watched movie. Now. Alright, let's try this sword out. Ooh. That's some speed. Alright, let's try this out. Where your shield? What do you look like? I do like how that one looks. No. Yeah, as of today's date, #1 watched movie in theaters. It's the only movie in theaters. Exactly. Oh, hell. Okay, I'm fine with that. Alright, I might like the one-handed swords. Ooh, you have the overhead chop. Okay. Pretty sure someone in, like, Egypt isn't watching Bruce Springsteen movie. Right? I just try movies out and make my own decision on their quality. Like most people, a movie has to interest me a little, but once I saw a movie, I don't... See? Wait. I did not want to see it at all if it becomes one of my favorites. Oh, yeah. How things like that happen. There's some movies where you're like, oh, I don't want to watch this. Oh, wow, it's actually really good. I legitimately do not remember how. Okay, so I opened this door. This is the entrance. Okay. Right there's the entrance. Not right there. Over there. So this door was open because I went through the door over here. I did the thing. Opened this up. That is not... Oh, hello. How do I get up there? Aha! I don't know. I imagine VPN services are pretty popular, are pretty popular in North Africa since the Arab Spring. Here's a giveaway. Yeah, trailers do give you way too much of the movie. Agreed. Popular. That's what I thought you meant. I gotta get back up there. How did I get up there? There was, I thought, like, a zippy thingy. Where's the zippy thing? Okay, see you in a bit, turtle. Ah, here it is. Dude, you have nothing to... Oh, you have nothing to worry about. You're taking care of yourself. That's important. All All right, where's that? There you are. Oh. Bologna and cheese. All right, is there? Nah, there's not. Not gonna lie, I was legitimately prepared for there to be a glass window there. No! Man. Yeah, I died. I knew that I wasn't interested in The Last of Us 2, Dragon Age Veilguard, Flintlock, Redfall, and other games, trailer impressions alone. People can scream about this and that in the game, but seriously, all you have to do is watch a trailer and you can gauge for yourself if you're interested in it. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of mystery. Yeah, right. And yeah, that is absolutely the point of trailers, but the point he's making is like, you're telling the whole story in the trailer. Like, you and I have had this conversation how trailers have so much. It's like, oh, they play all the best scenes in the movie in the trailer. It's like you've watched the movie because you've watched the trailer. That's the point he's making, is like, if you watch a game trailer, you basically know everything that's going to happen. So is that going to be something you want to watch? Or, I mean, play, whatever? I hate that white arc. Yeah. Yeah. That's where these were. Oh, I hate that I get turned around in this thing so easily. This. Okay, hold on. Maybe I do need to go back this way. This is 7. Okay. Watch, I'm gonna put the points this. I'm not even gonna like it. It's also kind of a criticism on the people who hate on games with like DEI content. It's like, dude, you could already tell from the trailer what to expect, so why are you gonna buy the game if you're gonna hate on it? You already know what was in it. I heard Ares was awful. Haven't seen any of the Tron movies. So the original is good. Tron Legacy, the second one, is also really good. It's actually, I mean, it's honestly really good. All three have very different vibes. I feel like 2 nailed it. I think 2 nailed the two is like vanilla ice cream on a table with flavors. Not that simple. I feel like 2 had the perfect amount of Easter eggs. In 2 that set it to be a really good callback. To the original. So glad I took that hit. Ares wasn't one I would. Oh, we have to go see it, but I would see it again. Cool. I forgot you guys can also through floors and stuff. Oh, I forgot that was a thing. I can destroy those? Oh, I didn't know that. I just wish people were not using DEI like that. It's not synonymous with minorities. It's inclusive for all people. Popular usage makes these target for politics. Your favorite character does make a cameo. To be honest, it's not like his fault. There aren't many things with Jared Leto that I've actually enjoyed. Well, so far he's been amazingly mediocre. In pretty much everything he's been in. Or the movie, okay, maybe that's unfair. The movies he's been in. We'll put it that way. But he doesn't love. Okay, I kind of like this. Don't like that. Slayer, defeat a horde. Induction melee conductor. Huh. That was kind of neat. I like that. I think he is choosing and being given parts to play because he was gangbusters and room for a dream. I don't know much about Jared Leto, but to me, all Hollywood type seems very strange. And that is why he is meh, if not just in the recent movies he's done. Joaquin. Joaquin Phoenix is like Joaquin. Joaquin. I think it's. You're pretty close. Yes. You're good. I just remember it because I got made fun of for saying his name wrong on stream. Like, you know his name is Joaquin, right? Like, yeah. So I just implanted that memory in my head. Joaquin. What I said. Like, no. You're the one that actually corrected me. Until I played it off like I knew too. It's like, I knew that. Just being goofy. Okay, I finally got these back. Do I want to risk it again? I risk the jump? Or do I risk the fall? I don't think I can make that jump. I really don't. We're gonna try it anyway? Yep. If that ledge hadn't been there, there's no way. Ooh. Key to Dargis Tower. Joaquin Firebird? I'm just sitting here patiently waiting for Beyond the Spider-Verse. It's been like 5 years and wondering if that project is dead. Aren't they like hand drawing every bit of the animation in that? Oh. Oh, for crap. Unless if you would sprint, dude. Some sort of issue with the artist right after Across the Spider-Verse came out. So close to making that jump. I don't know any of the details, to be honest with you. Push a button. Oh, no buttons. Don't hit the things. They hurt. You know what? You know, we're gonna heal. Just so I don't... Yeah, die from that. So, I'm gonna do a quick... break. I just need to use the bathroom, so we're just gonna do it. A quick little break. And reflex. Still short. Okay, 7. Yep, I have 6. Alright, quick, be right back. Be right back. I will be right back, I promise. You got slapped into Pokemon 31. Did I miss a raid? Yeah, too late, sorry. Okay, let's see here. Let me look. So much Spider-Man related content out there in the works. I would be surprised. Tom sorry, this. I guess there's a link to the PlayStation Spider-Man franchise that they may be holding off until the next game gets announced. Probably would bombard us with a triple release year with one live action Spider-Man, one animated, and one game. Great. Yes, it did. It was really good. Both of them were. Both of them were really good. Sorry. Wait. Do I not have enough cognition to... use them? My energy get drained is what I want to know. Well, it wasn't because of that. Starting from the next level. Because I actually do want to try to use this weapon. You know, I'm gonna go back to my sword just to see. It says it does more damage. See, I don't realize or see how this weapon does less damage than the scythe. The scythe wasn't one-shotting with the run attack, was it? One-shotting now anyway. There's that. I think it's the leech that's the reason why I like this weapon so much, because, like, look how much one hit gives me back to my weapons. It's really slow, though. Yes, I've been down there. So, I want to like this game. But I must say right now, I am not enjoying the level design. And it's not even the... It's not the combat. Because the combat's fine. Combat is fine. The game gives you good tools to start off with. And that's fine. 46. All right. So if we get to 5,000, we'll have enough. Okay, let's... I'm forgetting where I have to go. It's a me problem, not a game problem. I have to go this way, but it's up there. Oh, for crying out loud. Is it this way? This way. Okay. That's okay. Now I know what it's in there now. I finally made the connection. I was kind of hoping to cheat the hitbox. Yeah, you're not going to. All right. No. Okay. No. Loud flies. Okay. So I know how to get back up there. Yes, yes, yes. There. No. No. I know where that is. No. That's not it. That's that trap room we were in. Oh, hey. Zenian Day, second Ossel of the Phonom Spasm, Captain's Log of the Orad Nivi expedition. I've searched all day for this apparently important landmark called the Dargis Tower. By all accounts, it should have been around here somewhere, but nowhere can it be found. This is very strange considering how important the monument appears to be to the local residents. I have a key to the darkest tower, so that's something. At least this is something new. Some axioms, alright. Break. Here for axioms. Appears so. That's a lot of... Thought I looked. Okay. I need to find this spot again and again. So that I don't forget it. Ooh. Ah, man, what? Why'd you make the tooltip look so cool and then it looks so dumb right there? Oh, buddy. Okay. I guess where am I supposed to be? Oh, hi. This is why I like my big bonk weapon. Because the amount of stuff I get back. That's another door. It's the other side of that door. Now, wait a minute. If I do this carefully. Well, that wasn't carefully. 65, 70, 60, 75, 65. I don't like my stuff is in there, is it? Alright, forget it, we're doing it. Oh, nope. Will you lock on, please? Thank you. So the camera angle here is a little rough. I'm gonna send this guy to Prism. Hey, there's one down. Oh, I think we've learned how to cheese things now, guys. That's not good. Uh-oh. We got big chunky weapons and cheese. Yep. Oh no. Don't want that. I think the third hit, the next one will stagger. That was close. We're gonna do a fancy finish. Yeah. Can I have the weapon? No? Okay. I have 23,000 Axions right now. I don't think I want to lose these. Did I not die a while ago because of a fall? that? Did I not fall? I swore I did. Yeah, like right up there. Am I crazy? Oh, back up. That's weird. Ha! Into the abyss. Shuma would be proud. Let's see if there's a... Yes, the abyss needs more. Whoa. Items. More axes. More enemies. I want to find... Oh, what the... Oh, it's one of the terminals for the Wah. Never mind, we're fine. I thought it was gonna be. I thought I was gonna fall to my death right there. No. If gaming has taught me anything over the last 30 years, it's you never get on the train that's right in front of you before you look for items around it. I'm probably gonna die right here. I don't know, I just have a feeling that I'm about to get into a trap. And... oh, man. Okay, don't forget about this, Crimson. Don't forget. Black hole is ending. Now, before we do this, there's a door over here that I want to try and open. Now, why can I not even attempt to open it? Okay. Come down here and do that? Huh? Guess not. What I would like to find is a rift. Don't necessarily want to fall down there yet. We'll jump across over here and grab this item. Yuma, tame your beasties. Listen, we all gotta eat, and that includes us down below of the inhumane society. Variety. I'm not saying they can't eat, they just can't eat meat. Tell me I'm gonna regret this. Well, if you keep smashing them all into paste. No, you don't. I can get back up here, can I? No. No. Well, do I have a choice? I do have a choice. Good. Okay, good. Oh. What's the point of this room? Ah, there's items, plural. And that's worth it. Ration. Alright, let's push the button, because I'm too scared to do anything else. Clearly. Transit system offline. Alright. Well, guess we're gonna do the scary fall puzzle. Why? Because why not? You know, we're gonna take this off and change the weapon on there, because I am way too afraid of not making a jump. Oh wait, that's it? Shh. Easy. Oh. Please be a breach nearby, please. I don't like these corridors. Oh, thank goodness. Hey, Dar. We should probably get you to a doctor. Why? My forecast. Oh man, it's after 10. When I got here, you were coughing. 3 hours later, you're still coughing. I did not mean to press that button. Dang it. Sir, I am wielding a coffin. Ooh. Elevator's now online. That's probably death. My assumption is that is death. Okay, the elevator's online, so... Second floor. Oh my goodness. Ooh. What is this? You know, okay, I like fire, but I don't like walking into a room immediately. Fire. Yeah, I thought I jumped to my death. I legitimately thought I was about to die. Sir. Sir. Where am I? Alright. Let's do this. Whoa. That's a lot of enemies. Alright. Let's see if we can. Didn't work. Alright, we're gonna test something here real quick. We're good. Refund it? What am I refunding? Didn't work. It worked. Yes. We were smashing pumpkins. Getting smoked by this thing. That's stupid. That hit me still. Oh, Dar, I think you missed my joke earlier. You know what I call this sword? Yes. Oh. I think I like that. Yeah. That's actually a neat looking sword. Okay. It's kind of stylish. This is 80, 70, 75. That's still really good at 65. Like, really? Really? That hurts. Spent all these points on this thing to use this, and it only does 21, and this one does 24. Man. I'm gonna use it for a bit though. I spent this many points on it. I'm gonna use it. Oh, that's fancy. Alma mater. Ooh. Alma mater. Not my maters. I can smoke in my eye. That's not good. Ooh. Oh, okay, I was like, well, once I go down there, I'm down there. But no, there's stairs. We're good. Oh, and there's a breach. Okay. Not annoyed. I'm not annoyed. Not annoyed. That is a long time. It's pretty slow. This says it actually has more damage on it, though. Ah, because of mastery. Okay. Hey, dude. Okay. Hey. Sorry. Thought that was a hole. This is an interesting weapon. refined carbon. Oh, you look cool. Oh, here's what I'm using. We're so good at this game. Oh, I knew you had a gun. Brought a knife to a gunfight. You gonna drop your armor? No? Okay, fine. Maybe there'll be more of those guys. Elevator or door? Elevator. You know, this sword doesn't do that much. What is all this? Doesn't do that much damage, but it's kind of. It's just neat. Like, we have a weapon that actually has some unique attributes to it. Ooh. That was a stylish kill. Hey man, I made it. We dodged it. Wait, how did that hit me behind him? Come on. The knockdown attack, alright. I dig it. Yes. Exactly, Turtle. No, actually, the clown himself is playing the circus music. But I also have it. One thing I do like that this game has is that as you use weapons, they get stronger. I like that. I also don't, because it means you have to, if you get a new weapon you really like, you have to level it up. But okay, dudes. That's cool. Come on. Almost really good movement there. perfect split, guys. Dang, it's so good. No, you not fall off there. Man, don't run. Man. Lame. I don't know yet, Turtle. That's a really good question. I haven't figured out what's going on with those dudes in particular. Another trap room. T-Rad. Oh, cures radiation poisoning. Okay. Yeah, we kind of are skeletons in armor a little bit. Like it's a little bit different, but what is that? That's cool. Oh, score. Oh. Hello. Okay, that's a huge shortcut. And because it's such a massive shortcut, I'm actually gonna end the stream right there. That's a perfect spot to end. It's 7 HP? Dang. That's neat. All right. Actually, I still can't wear it. I got this cool new armor that I can't wear. Look at this. How cool is this armor? There. Nope, can't wear it. I even have the like the nerve guys. Where's the helmet? All right. I'm calling it out here, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry I'm a little low energy tonight. I've got some things going on that I'm dealing with. But we are going to call it a night here. I appreciate it. You guys are fantastic. I love you. I mean it. I wish you all a lovely evening. I'm gonna try my best to stream on Thursday. I think I'm off at 6 o'clock. But yeah, I'm gonna do my best. Let me see. I think I rated Tug last time. You know what? It's tired. I might just call it a night. I almost always rate out. You're not online. Here's what you know what? Forget it, man. Yeah, we're gonna do it anyway. I'm not big on horror games at all, but he's playing Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't have anything clever, so we're gonna say clever rate message. Alright, there's for subs. Here is for the people I still love and care about. Alright. Copy paste. Let's go tell Tug hello and have a great night. Bye-bye.